Have you ever been watching something or playing a game and just noticed all of a sudden that one of the bit parts that came across was the voice you'd done?
I haven't been surprised by that, but I will say this. My father-in-law has spent a lot of time reading the paper with the television on in the background, and every once in a while I'll go, is Eric here? You know, he'll hear a voice, you know, and he'll be like, what? You know? So he would recognize my voice more than that. But no, most of the time I remember the games I'm in. Though sometimes people will come up and say, will you sign this game? I'm like, I'm in that? They're like, yeah, you're in that. I'm like, really? I'm in this? So I might have forgotten that, but probably it's a game I didn't play. No, no surprises that way. Any more questions? Yes. What games? I was in a lot of Pokemon games in the beginning, and I was definitely in some Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I was in some Viva Pinata, the second Viva Pinata, the racing one. Oh, if you ever watch Viva Pinata, which I'm telling you, it's like a sitcom. You need to watch it because it will make you laugh. But the main character, Fergie, is a little fudge hog, right? Very funny guy. He's kind of like Jerry Lewis. You know, he's kind of like Woody Allen meets Jerry Lewis. He's always like, you know, he's like, Paulie, I don't know what to do. He's like a really nebbishy guy. I played his mother.
Who basically was this. I was using my little bit of the Butch voice, but I was Selma Diamond from Night Court and all that sort of stuff, and I played his mother.
And I remember when I said to because this is a prelay show, so you get to do the voices first, right? So it's not like we had to imitate anything. And I went to the producer and I was like, listen, I saw the script for the next episode where Fergie's mom comes to visit. I want to play it. He was like, what? It's like, I want to play his mother. I should definitely be Fergie's mother. Let's not cast a woman. Let me play Fergie's mother. They're like, okay. And it's like, oh, my little tiddly boobly winks. Ooh, oh, like, and he's pulling, and all that sort of thing. Oh, you got something on the side of your face. Let me wipe it off. It is one of my favorite roles I ever played because it is so ridiculous. But for some strange reason, when they made the second racing game for Viva Pinata, they didn't want to reuse. They didn't want to make new. They didn't want to make new models. They wanted to save money. So Fergie and his mom look identical, except that his mom has like eyelashes. So to save money, they were like, well, these are the characters that are going to race in the game that you can choose from. Here's Fergie, Paul, blah, 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 and his mom. And everyone was like, his mom is in the game? Who's going to pick his mom to race? You know, at least Mario Kart, you go like, well, there's some weird characters, whatever, but you know, you'll play everyone. Who's going to pick his mom? So you got his mom running around. Pretty weird. How are we doing on time? What's my Q and A cutoff here? All right, good. We got a little more time. What? I'm actually working on a couple of prelay shows that aren't anime. They're 3D CGI stuff, but they're funny, and they're funny little adventure shows. Working on a series called Go Go Crazy Bones, which is pretty funny. Which, if you're familiar with Little Crazy Bones, look them on the table. I also just directed. I'm in it, but I also directed an adaptation for a movie called The Illusionauts, which is a Spanish movie that we just cool animation. But Dan Green's in it, Veronica Taylor's in it, Wayne Grayson's in it, Mark Thompson's in it, Jason Griffith's in it. So it's all the people that you know. I sort of handpicked those people to dub this film. I play a couple of side characters in there too, and it's funny. It's a fun adventure type film. So you should check it out. You probably can find it online. Any more questions? Yes. I made that up. I don't know if you guys remember the great Ed Wynn from Flintstones, and who was the guy at Wizard of Oz, who you at the gate, all right? Ooh, Mr. Flintstone. Well, that's where I got that little, you know, that squeal from, you know. It's just that's where that came from. But I approached James as if Frasier and Niles had an animated brother. Because that's totally what that affectation is, all that upscale. You know, James could easily have been on Frasier. He could have visited and just been like, and here's our third brother. All right, what else? Any more questions? Yes. That I didn't have any fun with? You know, there were some times I'd work on shows that just weren't funny, or I knew weren't going to really amount to much, or even sometimes you get a little frustrated with what the dialogue is, because maybe it wasn't written well. I can't pinpoint a character, but there's definitely those moments where you're doing that and you go, it's just a job, do the work, and shut up, Eric, and don't tell the director he doesn't know what he's doing. But there's been those moments. There's definitely been those moments. They're usually rare, but you know, some of the anime stuff is just pushed through. The adaptation, the rewriting of it is just get it done, and not people might not even be familiar with the backstory. They might not even be familiar with how characters would actually talk to each other because of what their relationship is. And when that happens, it gets a little... When you know more than the director does or the writer does, and you're working on something, you go, oh. But you can't really complain, you know? So yeah, there's been some of those experiences. I wrote the Pokemon Christmas Bash. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. I really wanted to do a song. They were doing the Christmas album, and I had to fight to get on that record. And of course, that's the name of the album. That's how good that song is. But they were like, yeah, I don't know if we want to let you know, because I mean, it's money out of somebody else's pocket. I'm like, no, let me do it with the cast. Not like some other person coming in and singing about it. Let me bring in Rachel and Veronica, and let's all do this stuff. And so I wrote that, and it was pretty fun. Yeah. I wrote that, and I wrote that one song on the Yu-Gi-Oh thing, a Kaiba song, some dueling thing. I can't remember, but they buried it. They put it like last on the album because it was the best cut. Trust me.
Did you ever get your like voices mixed up with like James or Rock or?
No, I do them one at a time. Unless I'm doing, like, sometimes I've done some radio interviews where I've been Eric with James and Rock, and I've had to be like, well, what do you think? I don't know, he's kind of weird. You know, the two of you need to stop fighting. You know, things like that. That's where it can get confusing. But the way we work is we'll go into the booth and we'll do all the Rock lines. And then we'll go into the booth and do all the James lines. So you don't have to go back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes I need a vocal reference if it's a character. Like I was the magic carp salesman.
Yes. Just yes.
The whole thing, right? And why he was Mexican, I don't know. But like I did that, and then like 3 years later, they're like, he's back. And I'm like, oh, well, what did I do? You know, so that I might have to listen to something like that, you know. But then, you know, I also played Meta Knight.
Yes.
Right? And I did Antonio Banderas before he did. Because I was imitating him from the movies, just like his live action stuff. And because Meta Knight has no lip flap, I said, can we make Meta Knight Spanish? And they were like, what? Why? I'm like, because we can. Because you got no lip flap. Yeah, why not to make Kirby will save you? I'm doing Antonio Banderas. And so I'm doing Antonio Banderas, right? And then like 2 years later, Shrek comes out. And I'm like, dude, you're doing me doing you. Like what? You know, I actually auditioned for the Nasonex commercial. Why? Because they were pitching it to Antonio Banderas. And they wanted to make sure the client liked the idea. So why not get the one who sounds like him from the cartoons, right? Yeah, so there you go. So, right? That commercial runs all the time. They shouldn't pick me. All right. Any other questions? Nothing? Really?